Hey guys, and welcome to today's tutorial. This is the second video in the series, and today we're going to be learning tags. Piles and piles and piles upon tags. And so, one thing to know in HTML, there is a lot of tags, and it all starts with you learning a couple of them. So today we're going to go over how to put an image in your HTML, how to put a hyperlink, how to put in notes, how to bold text, how to emphasize text, how to italicize text, and that'll be today's lesson. So let's go right into the code. Let's define an image tag. So this is going to be the proper layout that you're going to see for an image tag. And it'll start out with the image, then it'll have an SRC, and you might not know what an SRC stands for. If you do, that's great. SRC stands for source. And so this right here within the quotations is going to be where we get our source, the source of our image. So I opened up a Homer Simpson photo, and I'm just going to copy the link to the image and put it into here and put it into these quotations. And let's see what happens. There we go. Right upon our browser screen, we have a Homer Simpson image. But there's another problem, though. I'm having a problem. I want this image to be freaking huge. I want this to cover my whole screen. So what do I do? So I'm going to define the width. Okay, let's say our width is 300 pixels. And let's say our height is 300 pixels. So there we go. Right there, we were able to define the height and the width of our picture. This is very important. Not only will this get you precision on the size you want, but it'll help the image render faster because you've already given the height and the width dimensions. Okay, so that was important. Next, we're going to learn how to put in a link. So, I have a href. Href stands for hyperlink reference. This is where, just like how we had a source here, this is the source for our URL. This is where, when the user clicks upon, this is where it will go to. So we're going to say that this goes to google.com because I really can't think of anything right now. And we're going to put in between the two tags, the opening and the closing, we're going to put in, here is a link to Google. And what that does is that this text is displayed upon the screen. And when I click here, it takes me to google.com. Now, there's a problem. This link right here is in line with this image, and I want this to be on a new line. So how do I do that? So there's two ways that I can do that. First, I can define a BR. And there we go. It's on a new line. BR stands for line break, and it'll start whatever comes after it on a new line. But there's another way. Another way, something else I can do, is that I can define a p tag. And what is a p tag? We covered this I think we briefly covered this in lesson 1, but what a p tag is that it defines the thing within a new paragraph. P stands for paragraph. And so what we did right here is that we nested an element. We nested a tag within tags. And this is something that I really regret. I was really hesitant when I first started learning HTML to put tags within tags. And I'm going to tell you that I should not have been hesitant. So an important lesson that you can take from this is that do not be afraid to put tags within tags. Honestly. Okay, next, let's go into defining notes. Now, okay, notes are very important. People often underestimate notes or creating notes, but I'm going to tell you that it's important, especially if you're looking back on what you've created like a while later. And, if you're trying to explain your code to someone else that doesn't understand, it can help clarify things. You can write when you last updated it so that you have at least a knowledge of when you worked on it, and you can recall things back to memory that way. So enough with that. Let's actually define a note. This is how you would open up a note right here, and right in here would be your text. So I'm gonna say last updated, January 3rd. That's today's date. There we go. And yeah, so we learned how to use notes. Let's learn how to bold text. Let's define a paragraph right here and be like, hello world. And let's say we want to bold this text really badly. We really want to bold this text. So what do? We put it within a B tag. A B. And what a B tag does, B stands for bold. It makes the text bold. Now, instead of using B, what you can use is something called strong, which has relatively the same effect. And it will also make your text bold. So yeah, that's how you would bold your text. How would you emphasize your text? Emphasize your text, this is what you do. You would put it within an EM. EM tag stands for emphasize, and this is how you'd emphasize your text. Now, let's say we want to italicize our text. This is how we would italicize our text, by putting it within an I tag. And so, of course, there's a lot of different types of these tags. You should have a general idea of what they are, because you probably will come across them. Even if you're not using them in your own HTML, you will come across them when looking at others. So it's important to use these, also to know what they are. Yeah, so today's lesson, I hope you really took something from today's lesson. We learned about how to define notes, how to put in an image, as well as specify the width and the height of the image, how to put a hyperlink to a different website, how to bold our text, how to emphasize our text, and how to italicize our text. So I'm going to go more in depth in my next lesson about how you define more things, about your text, how do you style it more. And we're going to start out by using CSS. So for those of you that don't know, CSS is Cascading Style Sheets. And in the next lesson, I hope to create our own CSS sheet, have our HTML link to our CSS sheet, and try a couple cool things out with our CSS. So that'll be next lesson. Again, I highly recommend getting a web editor like Brackets, or whatever you want to use, Notepad++. They're all good web editors out there. There's thousands. I'm sure that you can find a good one. So without further ado, thank you for tuning in today's video, and I hope you learned something.